Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of Proust Was a Neuroscientist, How 5 Writers, a Painter, a Composer, and a Chef Discovered the Mind, by Jonah Lehrer, performed by Dan John Miller, for Sarah and Ariella. Reality is a product of the most august imagination. Wallace Stevens. This systematic denial on science's part of personality as a condition of events, this rigorous belief that in its own essential and innermost nature our world is a strictly impersonal world, may conceivably, as the whirligig of time goes round, prove to be the very defect that our descendants will be most surprised at in our own boasted science, the omission that to their eyes will most tend to make it look perspectiveless and short. William James. Prelude. I used to work in a neuroscience lab. We were trying to figure out how the mind remembers, how a collection of cells can encapsulate our past. I was just a lab technician, and most of my day was spent performing the strange verbs of bench science, amplifying, vortexing, pipetting, sequencing, digesting, and so on. It was simple manual labor, but the work felt profound. Mysteries were distilled into minor questions, and if my experiments didn't fail, I ended up with an answer. The truth seemed to slowly accumulate, like dust. At the same time, I began reading Proust. I would often bring my copy of Swann's Way into the lab and read a few pages while waiting for an experiment to finish. All I expected from Proust was a little entertainment, or perhaps an education in the art of constructing sentences. For me, his story about one man's memory was simply that, a story. It was a work of fiction, the opposite of scientific fact. But once I got past the jarring contrast of forms, my science spoke in acronyms, while Proust preferred meandering prose, I began to see a surprising convergence. The novelist had predicted my experiments. Proust and neuroscience shared a vision of how our memory works. If you listened closely, they were actually saying the same thing. This book is about artists who anticipated the discoveries of neuroscience. It is about writers and painters and composers who discovered truths about the human mind, real, tangible truths that science is only now rediscovering. Their imaginations foretold the facts of the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?